Hello! Great start to the stream, I see. I have some technical problems with microphone, I can check the volumes, but I believe everything is okay. As usual. Everything is okay. So let's start, shall we? But before we start, I can do my usual plugs, We are a team, Untitled Game Studios, We make video games, and you can check us out on ugs.pt. So, Droian is our 2D pixel art Metroidvania wannabe game, and it's our wishlist on Steam. So, if you want to help us out, please wishlist our game on Steam. It will be greatly appreciated.
Droian. Wishlist now on Steam.
With that out of the way, plugins aside, what we are going to work for today, it's kind of a continuation of the previous work I have made on the previous streams. I can't keep avoiding it, So today we are going to work on avoidance in our pathfinding, which should be something pretty cool. So yes. So, with our platformer Metroidvania wannabe, we have, just a small recap, we have been developing this little guy in here. He actually has some AI in it with the Limbo AI plugin, but we are not going to go back to Limbo AI yet. You see, I have been working on pathfinding on Noctiwing and learning how pathfind works, and I have already made a script that I will later on put this script on the Limbo AI, so there's the things, search for player, move to target, and so on and so forth, And there's something I actually want to do as well, which is avoidance. You see, for those of you that haven't caught the previous stream, which actually is available on YouTube, there you go, another plug, we are trying to make it less dumb. So, our enemy right now, let me just delete this door. Yes, indeed, go away. If I approach this enemy, it can now sense that we are in the proximity using this collider, this, in Godot terms, this area, a 2D area. And if the player enters this 2D area, the Noctiwing will detect and will pathfind to it and move to our player. Because there's no need for audio on testing, So I have muted the application, and there's the enemy, and he's, pathfinding to us. Actually, what I said, the cake is a lie. And what do I mean the cake is a lie, apart from that cool reference that I always love to do? It actually isn't set up for the collision yet. The way the code is set up right now is basically pathfind and move towards. There's no collision yet. And that's fine, because I have set up that already on the Limbo AI, I believe. Let's just make sure. Actually saying true things. And for the cake to actually be true, So, can I see player? So there you go. And pathfind to target, this will be updated with the new code and whatnot. But yeah, there's the AI things, and we already have can I see player. Then we are going to put the script of pathfind to player in here, and then separate the move to target and actually put in here as well, and everything is gonna have its own script and can be added to other enemies and whatnot, and be like this module super cool thing. But for now, avoid that. Let's check this thing. We have our enemy. This door I might change it, but for now let me see what's in here. So this tile map layer get deleted, and let me see if the door is properly set up. So we have a door, animated sprite, static body for the collider. This is a thing that I need to change later, and feature Kaado works basically. And this is an interactable area to open the door. There you go. So, gonna save the door, close the door, and drag the door in interactable objects door to our level. And it can go in here. So our objective right now will be to, when I click play, I want the enemy to pathfind and detect the door is closed. And if the door is closed, I want the enemy to, detect this path can no longer be used. So let's get an alternative way to get to the player, And that's the thing that I'm going to attempt to do with the avoidance thing. So these blocks in here, because this is the visible navigation layer that the enemy can run to disable these squares or having the avoidance magic happen, like fairy tale, because everything coding is magic behind the scene, Obviously not. Let's just stop joking about with that and let's, actually try or attempt to learn how to do this thing. So, I want to basically make this door in-game registers as an avoidance object. So making the naughty wing avoid the door. That's exactly what I want to do. So let's attempt to do it. I have my docs open in here and there you go. So using navigation agents, let me see. So I'm reading. Now I'm not liking this. So if the default navigation agent does not do what you want for your game, feel free to design your own navigation agents with scripts. Okay, let's have that in mind. So these two are not the same, are not involved in regular pathfinding. Okay, so we are mainly focused on navigation agent thing. So the pathfinding we already done before. We want the avoidance. Navigation agent avoidance. So this section explains how to use a built-in avoidance specific to navigation agent nodes. For general avoidance, use more. This is the server thing. Yeah. I'm going to is it the server thing? I have read that before. Yeah, it's the navigation server API. Now, for now we are going to attempt to do with the normal thing, Then we are going to update for the server, if this thing doesn't do what we want. So avoidance enable on. So we are going to our, our good boy in here. Actually, it's not actually good, it's very bad. Very bad indeed. Navigation agent 2D. And where's our avoidance enable? There it is. So avoidance enable. So if true, the agent is registered for an RVO avoidance callback on the... So the agent is registered for an RVO avoidance callback on the navigation server 2D. So when I enable avoidance, this thing is going to be avoided by pathfinding? Is what I'm understanding? Okay, let me continue. Continue to learn. So the avoidance is enabled. Now what? The following navigation agent properties are relevant for avoidance. So there's the radius, controlled size of the avoidance circle. Can I have a square, please? I actually doesn't matter. So this area describes the agent's body and not the avoidance maneuver distance. Our value reduce processing cost. Okay. Max neighbors. So let me see how max neighbors are in here. Max neighbors 10. That's fine. Come on, go back to the thing. So I think this is not the thing we want, but we can always try, So using the navigation agent, property is the preferred option to toggle avoidance, but the following scripts. So this is turn on and off. That might be useful for the door, which is nice. There's the 2D and 3D version. And there's templates. This is just for movement. Or there's avoidance in here as well. So many things. My fast reading didn't detect any avoidance on that code. So if there is, I haven't read it properly. But there's one that has the avoidance. So if the avoidance is enabled, then there's new velocities and whatnot. Okay. There's rigid body 3D. That's probably the thing we want. Sorry. This is probably to do this by code. So get navigation agent. This is to move the thing, right? Yeah, this is to move the basic navigation movement. Yeah. So let me try something. So navigation agents. So in this door, let me open the door. In this door, we are going to add a navigation agent. So navigation agent 2D, because we are in a 2D environment. And there's this. Okay, that's fine. Let's experiment then. And this thing, it's going to avoid. So avoidance enable, radius. If I increase that or decrease, no, there's nothing. How do I see this? Debug. Enable, use custom, no. This is to use the pathfinding thing. I wanted to see the radius, this thing, this. Neighbor distance to search for other agents, 500. That's fine, max neighbors, that's fine. Time horizon, max speed, that's fine. So, avoidance priority, 1. This is just 0, 1, yeah, that's fine. So let me just attempt to put this to a bigger thing, you know. I know this is in here. And I need to know the size of our sprite. Does this has the size? Where's transform? So this center, there's transform. So I actually need to know the. So 200, that's actually fine. We are just testing. We are, you know, messing around. So this should do avoidance things, hopefully. Let's save. Let's now go to our level, you know. There's our door. If I open it, there's the navigation agent with 200 pixels. And if we play it, what's going to happen? Let's see. So I can already see the avoidance is doing nothing. Actually, never mind. I think the avoidance is actually doing something. Our enemy has run away from this. Really? Let me see. Let me see the door again. Let's just do something like, you know, the 62. The actual number that was on the sprite. So we have an actual 62 circle, you know, around this thing. No, even better. The nice number. Just because we are, you know, grown adults with a child brain. So let's test it. So, it's going up. And it's there. Oh. Interesting. That's very, very interesting. So it's actually doing the thing. And now, if I want to do it properly, it's not radius, and you need to divide it by 2, so 62. Because this is the entire thing, that's the diameter, so we actually want half of it. And, well, for those of you that actually know what's happening, no, it's not what we want, but it's avoidance nonetheless, you know? So I can just hit play, and we'll know there's the thing. So let's see it. So it goes up and whatnot, and goes down, and yeah, it stays there. And it's continue to stay there. And it's not gonna go there, you know, because there's the avoidance thing in there. So it's not going to go through it. Come on, go up, go down. So to make it, you know, visually prettier, I'm going to... Well, I know this and this moves. So I'm going to put navigation agent in there as well. So it's actually going to move with the door. And I'm going to slightly increase this to 48. Maybe that's a good thing. And yeah, maybe that's a good thing in here. So yeah, for those of you that are watching, no, this is not what we want. The enemy is pathfinding, but it's trying to avoid something in here. But the actual pathfinding, it doesn't take into consideration the avoidance. You see? I can make it... The enemy is actually avoiding the door. You know, it's not glued to the door like a dumbass, and it's avoiding it. You see? And if the door moves, it's going to go back a little bit. So we can fine tune this value, like making it like 40 or something. Maybe that's the good value. But yeah. So the enemy is avoiding the door. And if I, you know, do this, it escaped. And now it's doing the thing. It's avoiding the door, and I like it. So yeah, that's something. That is something. I'm actually going to still make it a 32 or no, 38. Yeah, you stay 38. It's a shame that this isn't a square, or we can't do that, but yeah. That's great, man. Not really. Because I was hoping this would make the pathfinding do magic, but no, it doesn't. So yeah, that might be a problem. So this doesn't affect the pathfinding. It has avoidance though, so let's keep avoiding. That's fine. You gotta connect both, so pathfinding has the avoidance parameters. No. So the way this works is you have this navigation layer, right? And the game will pathfind on the navigation layer using the A* thing, right? But then there is this avoidance mechanic, and the avoidance mechanic doesn't mess around with the pathfinding. What the avoidance literally does, it's applying a force to the enemy and the object to avoid, so they don't go, they don't touch together, you know? That's why when I have the moving code on our enemy, there's this safe velocity and actual velocity and whatnot, you know? So when the enemy is moving towards this thing, it actually see, oh, this area is to be avoided, so it recalculates the velocity between the moving, what the enemy should be moving, and the avoidance target, and it applies a safe velocity which gets lower and lower the more the enemy gets in the avoidance area. And the problem is, if there's no way of going through the avoidance area, because you know we have created an avoidance area bigger than the actual pathfinding passage in here, the enemy doesn't have any way to avoid that area and go around, you know, so it just stays in here. It can go through because the pathfinding still says to go through here, but the enemy can go through here. So yeah, cool thing, because we can have mechanics to make enemies literally avoid the player, which is pretty cool. We have like having scout type of enemies that, you know, are scouting the player from afar, but if the player gets closer they actually avoid the player and go around, you know, so the player can't actually touch those enemies. There's those simple mechanics that can be implemented, but right now that's not the objective. So let me just do this and attempt to do something else. So this wasn't the thing that we wanted. So RVO avoidance agents are not involved in regular pathfinding. This is the thing that I'm most afraid. So navigation using navigation obstacles. Yeah, that might be the same bullshit. Ooh, it's 3D stuff. No, there's actually navigation obstacle 2D. Let me see. Maybe Roxy is up to something. First off, let me just wrap up the navigation agents thingy. So there's the thing. So navigation agent node and the navigation server are not the same. The latter is an RVO avoidance agent and it's only used for avoidance. RVO avoidance agents are not involved in regular pathfinding, but we are just using the other. That's not the server RVO avoidance, but still doesn't do what we want. So let's see a different thing. So navigation obstacles. So you have 2D and 3D, which is nice. So with affect navigation mesh, with avoidance enable. Ladies and gentlemen, I think we got them. But let's not, you know, do the fireworks yet, because we need to make sure. So let me see. So we have the effect, navigation mesh and avoidance. Okay, let's continue reading. So we have... I hope this is not the same thing that as in other engines, because in other engines the meshes are baked in before the game runs, usually, to save in performance, and when you put an object that affects the nav mesh, it only affects in the beginning, it doesn't apply afterwards. So let's just have that in mind, because what I'm seeing in here, there's a before and after, and it actually affects the navigation mesh, but let's see. So affect navigation mesh and carve navigation mesh and avoidance enable. Let's mess around. Door. Instead of navigation agent 2D, I'm going to add navigation obstacle 2D. Navigation region 2D. What is this? Traversable 2D region that navigation agent 2D can use for pathfinding. Ooh, this is pretty awesome. So imagine enemies that can go, that they are clever enough to go on a platform. Interesting. Let's go to the obstacles one. So let me see. What do you say? So navigation mesh baking or constrain velocities of avoidance controller agent. Now the baking thing is the thing that makes me more scared of. The baking. Let's see what this can do. So we have a radius. I'm going to give it a radius of 31. Ooh, we actually have a visual thing. Nice. The transform I'm going to make it -1, not on the X, but on the Y. Actually just 1. Or 2. I want to make it like actually inside the door. There you go, something like that. And the Y maybe 1.5? Yeah, sure. Yes, something like that. No, navigation effect, navigation mesh. Yes, carve navigation mesh. Oh, we have this. This is nicer. What can I do with this? Can I affect the shape of it? So we have radius and vertex. Can I have this thing? Yes. Yes. So there you go. No more. Enough. Enough. We have too many of them. So let me just do this. There you go. So we have a square instead of a circle. I appreciate that more. Right? Now the question is, does this thing still does the thing without the radius? Because there's the vertex and affects the area? I hope so. Let's assume it does. So, we have this, we have the effect navigation mesh. So if enable and parse in the navigation mesh baking process, the obstacle will discard source geometry inside the vertex defined shape. Okay. And this. If enable the obstacle, vertex will carve into the baked navigational mesh with the shape unaffected by additional offsets. It will still be affected by further post-processing for the baking process, like edge, polygon, affect navigation mesh to be enabled. Carve as well. Avoidance. Do we want avoidance in this thing? Yeah, sure, why not? Save. Let's see what's happening in our level. So you have this thing, there's the yellow thing around, and these things are still on. So let me just click play and see what happens. So, pathfinding is still broken. Broken well. It's still not doing what we expected. You know? You aren't doing the obstacle thing. That's what happens when you try to wing things around. What did I miss? Maybe the angle thing needs to still be something. I don't know. There's navigation mesh and this thing. Alright, there's the avoidance enable, there's the layers, it can be still visible, that's nice. Maybe it needs coding for this to trigger. But for now, I want to see the avoidance happening. I'm going to do some tests. So the thing that I'm going to do is to check if the avoidance actually is happening with the radius. Then I'm going to disable avoidance to see if it disappears, and I'm actually going to make this 38 to make sure, to visually make sure that the avoidance is working. Then I'm going to disable, check if that's fine, and disable the carb if there's any difference, and disable effect to see if there's any difference. 99% it's the radius. I'm not so sure, because you know, when I'm seeing the in-game thing, I still see the pathfinding trying to go through here, and I know there's the obstacle thing in there, but the radius is working. So the avoidance radius thing is working. Okay, we have that out of the way, so let me just disable the avoidance. Now the avoidance is disabled. Now the enemy won't avoid the door, don't have the force to avoid the door, but the effect navigation mesh and whatnot, it won't do nothing. I bet it's not going to do nothing, and we actually have to do some coding foolery to actually trigger the thing. That's what I think. But let's just test it. You know, come on, don't be stuck on the curve. Come on, enemy, do something. There you go. So it's still trying to pathfind through the door, that's fine. I'm going to disable the carb thing. And by the way, the carb thing to be enabled, it needs the effect navigation mesh, which is the top also enable. So yeah. So we have disabled the carb. That's fine. Let's play and test it. There's something around pathfinding that's still not great, in corners and whatnot. But yeah. So what we have from the tests is that this thing is still doing nothing at the moment. I don't know if it is something about the meshes. They are now red. Why are you red? Because they are invalid. So let's make it like a clock. So 0, 1, 2, 3. Yeah. So it's green. There's no more errors. Clean it up. Yes. This is disabled, so it's not doing anything. Wait, this thing is on by default? Interesting. Interesting. So there's visible thing, so we see the affecting thing. Show behind parent. Okay, top level. Clip children. This is just visibility. Yeah, nothing to care too much about in here. Ordering is in the Z index. I hope this doesn't affect anything on that. So yeah, we have this and this. Now let's check documentation, because we know it's doing nothing at the moment. So from what I read in the docs, everything needs to be on and radius is what makes the avoidance dynamic. The coding is if you want to do it procedurally as a projected of structure. Yes, I want the coding thing. The avoidance thing is to not, is to literally avoid having the force. It's the navigation agent thing for the avoidance. It is the same thing in the obstacle 3D, exactly the same thing. We want is the projected thingy, probably, I think. So let's keep going. So the property effect navigation mesh. The baking process still worries me, but let me just go and do the thing. Now, the shaping affected by offsets. Yeah, sure. More. So the object shape and placement is defined with the height and vertex properties and the global position of the obstacle. There's the height and vertices. Where's the height in here? I just have the vertex. There's nothing in here, probably. Canvas item is just visibility. Yeah, there's no there's the vertices, and the vertices already are set up in here. So yeah. There's the global position, yeah. The y-axis value of any vector 3 used. Adding just before baking is enough. So we are going to have the baking thing. I really don't like that. But I guess we don't have any other choice. So we have coding the obstacles outline thing by code. We already done that in the UI in here, which is fine. So navigation mesh, navigation polygon new, source geometry. There's navigation server 2D. This is something I can just access from everywhere. Let's do something. Do something. The door has code. And I'm going to use the code. Code from the door. It's actually going to be on its own function. So function, so effect geometry, effect nav geometry. So yeah, something like that, right? Yeah, effect nav geometry. And now I have the copy pasta. So I have this. And I need to clean up whatever the hell I need to clean up. So source geometry. The source geometry I need to... where is that? Source geometry. Navigation mesh, source geometry, that... wait a second. But I have that. Oh, but I don't have the thing. I see. Okay. Obstacle outline and obstacle carve, there's in here. Now we need the outline. The outline we are going to get from this thing. So I'm going to make access unique. And I'm going to bring it here. And I can make it directly. That's fine. So the obstacle outline, I want this dot, and I want the vertex. Can I access the vertex? Get navigation map, get head, get radius. Vertex. Right? Let me see. Get vertex. Yep, it's an array of vertex 2D, of vectors 2D. So, an array of vectors 2D. Just to make sure This is an array of vector 2D. It's a packed vector 2D array, to be more specific. And a packed vector 2D array. That's exactly what we want. Excellent. So there's no need to make it bytecode these things, which is awesome. So there's that. Bake from source geometry data, blah blah blah. So, fantastic. I'm going to attempt to do this on the start. So let's go to the start, shall we? We have all these things in here, and there's no return, no, so yeah, we have that. Effect, navigation geometry. Will it do something? Let's see. No, it didn't. So it still didn't do the thing. So, effective geometry, you have the navigation mesh. Oh, navigation polygon new. No. Source geometry. We don't want new. We want the one that's already in the thing. Navigation server 2D, whatever, blah blah blah. So we have one already in the thing, which is the map. We don't want to create a new one. Although this access the thing and parse source geometry data, which parses the new thing. Obstacle carve boolean true, and it's carving add projected obstruction. My test root node. That's why copy paste gets you. So let's go thing by thing, even though I'm curious to see what's after. Let me see if there's something interesting. So, obstacles on navigation mesh, obstacles on the agent avoidance. Okay, the avoidance, dynamic avoidance obstacles, procedural obstacles. Okay, there's interesting things. No. Interesting. There's this obstacle set radius. I don't care about this thing though. I just want to carve the navigation out of existence in the mesh. Adding a square that pushes agents out. I don't want to push them out. I want navigation layer gone on that area. That's what I want. I just want that. I want them gone. Those squares, you know. Hey, stop complaining and see the squares. The squares in there, these squares, these navigation squares. I want them gone. That's what I want. And then I want them back. But that's another thing. When the door opens, I want them back. When the door is closed, I want them gone. That's the only thing I want. Maybe it's just a different way of saying that. Just need to get around with this and discover things. So let's go back and you know, see this thing, because why not? We were in this thing. I have seen something forward, but let's finish this thing and try to learn what this does and then go forward. So you have navigation mesh, we have a new navigation polygon, which we parse source geometry data, navigation mesh with the new mesh, okay. And then we have the source geometry, the new one as well. And then we have this. This my test route node is probably the thing. Now, the parse source geometry. Let me see. We get navigational route node. It's the route that contains the mesh thing, or is route? Because if it's route, doesn't make sense having the my route whatever, my test route node. Whatever the heck that is. Because I could just, you know, have this, the get route thing, you know. How does one get route? Come on. Get tree, get root. There you go. I was not getting the get tree. Come on. Get tree, get root. Done. Are you happy? Yes. Save it. Clean it. Save it again. Let's do this. Yeah. So we are getting the root. But I don't think it's... This route is still messing my brain. Doesn't make sense getting the actual route. I still think this route is the route from the mesh, the object that has the actual mesh, which in our case is the tile set. In here is this tile map layer that has the navigation layer. But yeah, maybe not. So there's something that we still need to see. So there, continuing here. So let's go to the documentation and keep seeing. Okay, so I'm going to the door and do the call. How was it? Call deferred. Save. Didn't broke. Let me just make sure. Nocti Wing. I know there's a call deferred in here. I'm just checking if I have made a typo or not, and yes I did. So, call deferred. Good. This is another thing. Okay. Going to here. So you have the new mesh polygon, and now we are accessing the navigation server 2D. We are parsing the new geometry, which is the new thing with the new source geometry, to the root, and then we have the obstacle carved through, and then add projected obstruction, which we are getting the navigation vertice from our object, and do the thing in here, the source geometry, which has the new thing that we have parsed to the navigation server 2D, and we are projected obstruction. Okay, good. And then bake from source geometry data. So we have the thing and bake again. Okay. I believe it's not gonna work because this probably is not messing around with the baked mesh from the tile set. But let's see. Not this one, please. It's on the base. Come on. Yeah. I know you are complaining. Come on. Run from the proper one, the base one. Of course it's the Caldeferred is bullshitting us. So, from the base, that's fine. And it's still going there, as expected. As expected. Let's make it unique. What script has the tile map layer? Obstacles, array, tile map layer. What's this? Get obstacles layers. And obstacles and bull. What's this? I haven't remember doing this. Why there's code in here? Was previous Kaado doing some copy-paste things? Cause I don't remember this. Bad past Kaado. I don't know. I don't know if was past Kaado doing this. What's this? Navigation tile layer. Navigation tile layer. Is this a script that is implemented to create the thing? Now, don't worry, Roxy. Don't worry. It was probably me who have done this. Don't worry. But I don't remember, so it was probably some tutorial a long time ago in a galaxy far away, you know. Don't worry about that. So let me see. There's things in here. We have discovered something in our project that we may or may not use. That is 96% probably conflicting. I don't think so. What more probably is happening is the fact that I'm doing something. This is probably doing nothing, basically. The code that I have made in here, this code is probably doing nothing. Or wait. What if this code in here tile sets, navigation tile layer. What if I take it off? 2D. I have taken off the tile map thing. And it's not going to do nothing, ladies and gentlemen. That's what I expect. To still be the same thing doing nothing. And what I expected was actually correct. So yeah, I really don't remember what that code was. Probably from very old prototype code when I was doing this old enemy, probably. And it was still in here. Bad Kaado that doesn't clean up the projects. But still, it wasn't affecting anything, because this is also not doing anything. But I'm still going to get that thing again in there. So tile sets and the navigation tile layer thing, right? Yes, it's this thing. So I have a script in this tile map layer. And there's this door, which has an obstacle, a navigation obstacle 2D. Okay, there's the percentage thing, and yeah. Then there's also the script that does nothing, so I'm going to take them off. And because I have taken them off, I will also take off the deferred. And now it's clean up, it's like I haven't done anything to this. And we only have the navigation obstacle 2D and nothing else. And there's the carve thing and effect thing and everything. Now, this code. What's this? So we have obstacles, array, tile map layer. I like this. I will do the... How does one do the thing again? It's not on ready. It's how does one put the code in here? I have forgot. It's not on ready. It's not const. Export. Let's do that. Is it export? It's not getting yellow, it's getting annoyed. So it's not export. I don't remember how to do that. Let me just check older code. This guy. I'm pretty sure there's stuff in other objects like this, you know, so I can check that. And it's at export. You
Just
didn't
read the
type
chat.
at.
Look at the chat.
That was
and
the
read it.
problem. Yeah. It was also my fault for not remembering it. So that's it. Yeah. At export. Array tile. But that's a tile map layer. Why obstacles get a tile map layer? So function ready void get obstacle layers. So var layers get tree get nodes in group obstacles. If layer is not tile map layer, continue. So I'm doing something in here. Get obstacle layers. Var layers get tree get nodes in group obstacles. Group. You going to get in a group called obstacles. It's a global group. Obstacles. Alright. Now you are one of these. For layers in layers. For layer in layers. So I'm going to check every layer. If layer is not tile map layer, continue, obstacles, append, this, append, layer. Why am I appending a layer in this guy? For reasons, I'm sure. Use time data runtime update. Return. So I have done this, and this is done in. It's used somewhere. It's called somewhere. It's called inside the tile map layer somewhere. Let me do an even different thing, which is going to put this navigation obstacle in the obstacles as well. Who knows? You know, I'm in the point of winging it and wasting time. And as expected, I'm wasting time. So yeah, let's just, you know, go to the, let's disable this, go to the door and disable the thing again. And let's continue to read documentation and see if there's something, because I'm pretty sure there was something more in the documentation that may help us, which is the code from below, this one. So there's more comments and whatnot. This may be helpful after. Navigation region to the... There's even a different thing. Okay, I have even more stuff to study and learn. That's fine. And there's bake navigation, which is... there's new stuff to learn. Okay. Focus on this thing for now. Procedural obstacles. Let's do the thing. So create a new obstacle and place it on the default navigation map. New obstacle. There's default map grid. I don't want to set radius, I want just the vertex, but I want to set the radius as well, because why not? Let's do a mistake again, because last time the copy pasta actually worked, and I'm joking and very sarcastic, but I'm going to do the same for now, because I'm, you know, stuff. Can I... Yes. I don't want the color further, I want this in there. Effect, nav geometry. And this thing I will do this. So I need to, you know, do the tabs just to make sure. Delete the excess tabs, and there's that. So chat is doing something. Read the chat. There's nothing new in the chat. What do you mean? Yeah, we Gucci, we Gucci. I'm a little bit worried because I don't have headphones, so if some emergency happens that could be problematic, because I don't have sound. But if that happens, you can just call me on the phone or something like that. You know. Just in case. And I'm talking to chat moderators, you know. So, we have a new thing. Effect, navigation geometry. So in here we are going to create a new obstacle, yes, and place it on the default navigation map, yes. So new obstacle, which is a new thing, good. Default map read, we getting the get navigation map, yes, good. Navigation server 2D obstacle set map, we have a new obstacle read, which is our new obstacle, and there's default map, which is the map that we have picked up, hopefully, and there's the obstacle set position, which is global position of the door. That's fine. That's fine. Not fine. Not fine. I want this position of this guy. There you go. New obstacle read. This position. Now. This I'm gonna have the radius thing, that's fine, I'm not gonna mess around with that. Now, the array thing though, this thing, this in here. This packet array thing. I'm not gonna use the outline thing, I'm going to use our navigation obstacle 2D. And I want the array. It's vectors vertice, there you go, which ends up being the, you know, the packet vector to the packet vectors to array, you know. Yes indeed, hopefully, you know, hopefully. And enable the obstacle. Navigation server to the obstacle set avoidance enable, new obstacle read, true. And there's that. And this is done on the ready. So let's see what happens. Absolutely nothing. Just make sure I'm going to make this code go away because I don't know what's doing in here. So yeah, you gone from here. Does this have something about navigation? Because I don't think so. Yeah, doesn't have nothing. Good. Good. Now it loads this thing, which has the room instance thing, and there's the tile map layer with navigation thing, which I have disabled the script. There's enemy stuff, patrol and stuff. The door thing that has the effect nav geometry thing. Should I call this deferred though? Maybe. Let's call this deferred. If I do this, it will probably get in here, you know, the effect thing. Oh, see? Just this thing, it makes this engine better than Unity. Because Unity, there's instance that you call, you know, functions by name using a string, but it doesn't actually show you things. At least the old versions of Unity. I don't know if the newer shows it or not. But when I use it to develop in Unity, it didn't do that. But Godot does. So there's a thing better for Godot. So yeah. So the door adds a new thing. Now go to base and play the thing, and let's see. And I probably think it's not gonna do nothing. What if the vertices are bigger? Something like this. Not the avoidance. The avoidance is fine. It's avoiding something. Why were you stuck in there? Can you explain me why you were stuck in up top? That. Why you stuck up there? Why you not stuck down there? I don't have the avoidance turned on the door with some bullshit radius. Right? Well, because this thing isn't up here. Oh. I see. I see why he's stuck up there. So, you're telling me the avoiding objects also doesn't affect the pathfinding mesh thing? Doesn't, delete these squares? Because it is working. This thing is working. This thing is actually, I'm seeing it actually working. Because there's 2 squares and a half, 2 squares and a half. It's this object thing is working, and it is not an avoidance thing, before you ask. So this actually worked, but it didn't do what we wanted. Why do you say navigation mesh then? You are not... You are making the enemy not go through it, but you are not carving. You are not deleting the mesh, navigation mesh. I don't understand. Because the pathfinding thing, if this was working, why does enemy not pathfind again to a new thing? Maybe it's the code of the pathfinding. Maybe it's this. Unready. Maybe it's this. No, it's not this. This is from the player. The Noctiwing itself. Sorry, no, don't worry about... No, that's not the thing. I will do it, but I know it's not the thing. And if it does, if it is, I will pay you a beer. But I'm pretty sure it's not. So there's an actual bet. So making the thing smaller and the avoidance thing bigger. Because the avoidance thing is not the problem. This avoidance isn't the thing that we want. So try the vertex smaller, which I did, and add radius with avoidance, which I will add. Yeah. Not that small maybe, I can make it the size of the door if you want, like it was previously. But I'm pretty sure this is not the problem. I'm starting to believe the problem may be on the code on the Noctiwing pathfinding itself, but let's see. So I have done the radius thing with the avoidance and whatnot. This is basically the code that I have before. It's not gonna affect how this works, even though I have deleted the test, the code from the tileset thing. You see, the code, the thing I stay here, it's still pathfinding it. It's not doing what we wanted. It's the avoiding thing is still working. See, the avoidance is working, but it's not doing the thing. So yeah, I have not lost the bet. A self-imposed bet, because you don't lose nothing. But yeah. Yes, that's exactly what I was thinking. The coding here on the Noctiwing. What I need to analyze is the Noctiwing, the navigation mesh that Noctiwing is using is something that he has grabbed on the beginning and it doesn't update it, or what? That's the thing that I need to understand, you know? So on the Noctiwing, the code on the Noctiwing, we have a nav, which is this navigation agent 2D, and the player. So actor setup, call deferred, and the nav, we have the velocity computed. This is just updating the velocity on the nav, on the navigation agent. That's fine. This is deferred, so wait, get 3 physics frame, set movement target player, position, and now it's going to set the movement. Nav target position, movement target, which is going to be the player position, and the physics process move towards the player, which is going to set movement target. It's going to be the player position for our target, because we don't have the patrol points yet or anything to set the target. Navigation is finished, it's not finished, and not current agent position. This is a new variable. Current agent position is the enemy position, next path position is navigation next path position on this thing. The get next path position. But I update the thing. I set movement target. I have given a new target, nav target position. Yes, I have done it. Current agent position, direction 2, to do the speed and whatnot, and then do the navigation set velocity and whatnot, and there's the move on slide. So there's something in here that I can... let me see. So we have the navigation layers. In the navigation layers I have one. Okay. I have pathfinding, desired distance, target desired distance, path max distance. We have the navigation layers. Probably this. I don't know. We have the algorithm, that's fine. Path post-processing. Corridor funnel. Let me see, what do you say? I'm actually going to change this to edge. This might be cool. That's the thing that I was questioning. Why is the pathfinding not in the center of the cubes in here? That might be it. Let me just see it. That might be interesting. That's exactly it. I'm going to make the this thing not visible, just so you see what I'm saying. It's not the test one, it's the base. Come on, I always forget. Always forget. Come on, Pathfind, shall we? What did I do? Okay, that makes sense. I have disabled navigation. You know, I won't just mess around with visibility, not the thing. But yeah, now it's on the center of the blocks. I like these more. I actually like this more. Good, we are improving things. Now let me just re-enable the thing again, because I want to see the thing for show. I want to make sure these cubes, the navigation mesh, get deleted. Now going back to the Noctiwing thing, and let's continue. Now path, metadata flags, include types. Now let me read. So there's that. It's including everything. Simplify path. What does this? That's fine. Avoidance enable. This is just to make this object avoidable. Which it doesn't matter. I don't want to avoid this guy. So this is not applicable. Yeah, I don't think there's not... It's not a setting in here. But we know it's the nav mesh thing. But we are approaching the end of stream, so we have... we successfully avoided making avoidance in pathfinding in Godot. Which in reality is an epic fail, because I couldn't accomplish the objective, but I believe I'm going to do it off screen, you know? But yeah, we have successfully avoided doing this. Which just, you know, we have learned stuff. I was about to say we have wasted time, but we didn't. We have learned a lot in here. Which is awesome. Now the edge center is fixed a thing that was annoying me on the pathfinding, which is cool. And I will need to mess around with this. I will probably, well, you know, I'm going to enable this because simplify path, it's an optimization for Hammer Douglas Puker. When it has a cool name from a scientist, it's probably a good thing to have enabled. So yeah, and this is off because I'm not going to avoid enemies, I'm going to avoid doors. And yeah, I'm going to continue to see this off camera, you know, because this is something that I need to fix. And I'm probably going to start messing around and investigating on the navigation layers and whatnot. That's probably the next move, and I'm going to try and attempt to edit the navigation mesh inside the navigation layer and whatnot. But this is something for a short future, Kaado. So yeah, let me just pause the music, and go to the thing in here. Excited to see where you take this. Well, I'm excited as well to see if I can accomplish the mesh deletus in there and re-enable it. You know, maybe when I discover this, which I hopefully eventually do, this may go forward. You know, we shall see. And if you want to see if Kaado actually is able to make avoidance, or let's just say navigation mesh update an actual thing, just stay tuned on our socials to see when the next stream is. And links are down in the description. You can also check them out on our website as well. Their socials down there. I believe there's also buttons in here. Probably the community. This is a cool thing. This is where we showcase a community projects that people have done about ourselves, which is pretty awesome. And you can join them in the Discord. We have a Discord community where I bet all of these things have been posted in there, which is pretty awesome. And we appreciate our community. And thank you for your, fan art and whatnot. We really appreciate it. And the next week is going to be Satan in Blasphemous. Maybe, maybe not. We shall see. If you want to actually know who's going to stream next week, follow our socials to know. And, I hope you have enjoyed this stream. And see you next week. Bye bye.